Hello and welcome to another episode of the Roots and Wings Iwacho show, the show that connects Rwandan community abroad with their roots back home here in Rwanda. I'm your host, Olive Nete. Today we are honored to be joined by Herbert Mugume Diego, a Rwandan living in the United States, who is also a key leader within the Rwandan community abroad, but also a financial expert, passionate about bridging opportunities between Rwanda and its diaspora. He's currently in Rwanda to engage with both the private and public sector, institutions, and to promote the upcoming Rwanda Convention USA 2025, which is set to take place in Dallas, Texas in July this year. In this episode, we'll explore the vision behind this convention, its impact on our community, and the work being done to improve access to financial services for Rwandans living abroad. Stay with us. Herbert, it's a pleasure to have you today.
My pleasure, Olive. Thank you.
Yeah. Starting with the Rwandan Convention USA, what is the idea behind this Rwandan Convention? What is it about? When did it start? And what does it explore in general?
Good. Yeah, great question. So the Rwandan Convention it's a signature event of the Rwandan diaspora folks living, but more particularly in the U.S. And it's an event that is usually done it's organized by Rwandans, but in collaboration with the Rwandan embassy. And it's an event where most people, especially in the North America side, and actually most folks in the Europe, do join us in the US. We get to be together and learn more about Rwanda. It's an incredible platform that gets to address things like trade, investment, opportunities, get to address youth issues. So we usually have panel discussions, we have exhibition, we have soccer games and other activities that bring people together. It's a 3-day kind of event. For particularly this year, 2025, it's going to coincide with the Kwibuka 31. And this is actually very strategic in that sense that we'll be celebrating at the same time, since it's going to be happening in July 4th, 5th, and 6th. So it's the Kwibohora 31 weekend. It will start on Friday evening, go through Sunday, and we're expecting around 2,000 to 3,000 people coming together from North America and Europe. And we do, in that sense, get to engage folks in Rwanda here, state government officials, businesses, individuals, to come there and get that mingled platform of individuals and businesses and government officials to learn about Rwanda. So to us, it's mainly 3 things. It's a platform where we do embrace the idea of community ownership, and we also get to address and enjoy the idea of cultural pride. But also we get to renew our commitment to shaping Rwanda's future together. Yeah.
So if you could go deeper into the activities that are done in this convention, you mentioned some of them, but could you explore deeper what beyond what conversations are there, what key elements are included in that convention, and also what is the uniqueness of this year, and how long have you been doing this convention?
Good. Let me actually start with the last piece there. It's always been going for the past quite many years, but then not until 2019. So we are actually making now a return, because there hasn't been any Rwanda convention since 2019. The last one was in 2019, so maybe with the factors of COVID and the breaks that happened around the global trends that were happening, much has happened to the sense of Rwanda Day. But until last year, we resumed Rwanda Day. Then this year, we're resuming Rwanda Convention. Now, to the other parts of the question there, as for the activities, we have many activities actually in that 3-day event. We are meant to start off this year with games, like on Friday, meet and greet. If I can kind of talk about the structure of the way this event is kind of organized. So we have Friday evening where people come and meet, greet, more kind of relaxed and connecting, more of games, dances to Rwandan traditional culture. But then we gently transition onto the next day, which is now Saturday, that gets to be a full packed and heavy day. The Saturday, which is day 2 of the event in that sense, is going to be made up with different panel discussions. And it's actually a simultaneous activity. So on one side, we have trade exhibition, where vendors and businesses are exhibiting on one side, and on the other side, we have the setup of lectures and room lectures and panel discussions and talks. And within those talks, we anticipate addressing about different issues. On the business side, we invite businesses on this side. We also invite businesses from the Rwandan diaspora in Canada, US, including ourselves, where we're business folks at the same time. So we get to talk about the different opportunities from the business standpoint, where we can connect with Rwanda in a more practical way, provide a platform where individuals can invest here. And in the youth, we address, of course, issues with our youth there, but also we kind of redirect them to opportunities that are here in Rwanda. Because we have youth that come there, study, do great, acquire great skills, but also get lost in the limbo, where some of them return, some of them don't find much sense of returning. And then in the afternoon, we'll address things of culture, history. We do more of Pan-Africa and address the theme of the weekend, which is the Kwibohora 31. Looking at the Rwanda's journey of unity and reconciliation and progress. And at the very end, we'll talk about history, how far Rwanda has come. And by now, we're anticipating having different panel discussions and actually people on those panels.
Among the things that you mentioned includes the business part, the trade opportunities available in Rwanda, where people in the Rwandan community can come and invest here. I would also like to ask, in this Rwanda Convention 2025, what kind of business investment opportunities can attendees expect to find?
Good, yeah. So the most great one that we hear most people very excited about is the creating a platform itself. So if you very well aware about the idea of a platform, it's a place where you bring service providers or products in one place, and then you bring the buyers or the consumers of these same services in another place. So in so doing, it becomes a meeting point. So we're inviting all sorts of businesses from Rwanda here, like say banks, financial services, made in Rwanda products, individuals who have these ideas. And then we mobilize for this event through our influencers and social media platforms and community platforms as well, because the way we structured in the US, we have this platform depending on where people are located. So people come down there, we get to a meeting point, and then those who have physical products and services, actually, they get a platform of their own to exhibit. And then as for the lecture room side or the conference room side gets to address the same ideas, but this time in more of a theoretical side. They get to learn, they get to have Q&As, questions. Most people have not been here in Rwanda for quite some good years. And then the most exciting piece, because now we have the embassy with us. It's a very strong and active team at the embassy, which we're very much excited about, more ever than this time. They do provide those biometric services.
Yes.
They come down at the site. Right on the site, people are able to get those biometrics of national IDs, of passports, of consular cards. And it's a very rich environment where people kind of, if I may call it, a one-stop center, where people learn about business, reconnect with their roots, get the services they need in the communities. So it's a very exciting session that we look forward to.
Now, still on this convention, but closing this first part of the conversation, in your view, you've been working with these people in the Rwandan community abroad, specifically in the USA, where you help them. How has this program of the Rwanda Convention helped them? How has it been beneficial in terms, do you actually have conversations time to time, how has this been beneficial since they started attending this program?
Right. In many ways. One practical way that we kind of feel very proud about was the culture, embracing our culture. So we've been there for quite long, and people get to learn about Rwandan culture and get to embrace the taste of Rwanda. If you look at the young ones, because we have like things like Itorero traditional dances, and we have to train our kids, even ourselves, to re-embrace, soak into the Rwandan style. So when such events happen, you get a feel, even though it's in Dallas or Washington or Atlanta or California or whatever, but you walk into the place and you're like in Rwanda. So the sound, the communication, the style, the culture in it is in Rwanda. You're actually in Rwanda while in the US, or depending on where the events happen to be. So we've been able to connect with the culture of Rwanda. We've been able to connect with the trends of what's happening here. And people find it more actually advantageous for them to have Rwanda in the places they are without necessarily one-on-one coming on this side. So, I can travel here, my colleague can travel here, and they get to learn about, 1, 2, 3 things. They can only learn so much in the shortest time they have when they travel here. But within those 3 days, even though time-wise it seems to be a very short time, but the day is usually packed with lots of moving pieces all rotating around Rwanda. So if I'm interested in finance, someone else is interested in culture, or my kids, I want to tell them this is where I belong, this is where I come from. So you look at the young kids, we have like a Itorero of young ones. You get to see them actually right now even practicing for that event. So psychology-wise, they are already soaked in the culture of their parents. And when we are lucky enough to have government officials come there, talk about the programs, the strategic programs where the nation is headed, and people get to hook on those programs depending on their skills and their professions and their specializations. The other day we had a minister of education come over there. We hosted a minister of health, talk about these great programs where they move new hubs of health. And people in the health field are like, oh wow, actually there's things going on there. How do I tap into these opportunities as a medical professional or as a business professional? Yes. And so it's very advantageous in all sorts of ways.
You're still watching the Roots and Wings Iwacu. We'll take a short break and then come back on another part of this show, which will be about financial inclusion and more to what the Rwandan community abroad is doing and how they're still connected to their roots. Now we are still on Roots and Wings Iwacu, but now this part of the show will talk about the Rwandan financial institution and how they are working with the Rwandan community abroad. Still, Herbert is going to tell us about more of what the work he's doing. He's a financial expert. We'll start by telling us this work that he's doing with the financial institutions in Rwanda. What's your current role in helping the Rwandan community abroad access banking and investment services?
So my personal background is in finance. I was lucky enough to get a taste of finance when I was still here. I used to be at RDB. Back in the years I was still around here, I was in charge of international trade at RDB. So when I moved over to the US, I was lucky enough to maintain in the same field of finance and went into banks. I worked in the banks for some good years and then later moved over to private sector. And at the same time, I was joining actually the leadership of RCA. Back then we were still diaspora. Right now we're running community abroad. I live in Atlanta, but the way we're structured in the US is we have leadership structures of Rwandans living abroad, which we call RCAs per state. And then we have the umbrella organization that brings us all together. So we have over 50 states, but then the more structured communities are about 31. Being in the financial services, yes, you have a state you're living in, but also you serve or you get to have access on the entire US as a nation on a federal level. So that provides us an incredible platform of reaching every Rwandan in the US, and actually even northward in Canada. So from a financial standpoint, I am more involved in the financial markets and financial instruments of retirement planning, of health insurance and life insurance and trading and investments. So I started working with organizations in the US, more famous organizations like Fidelity Investments, New York Life. Those are the organizations we're working for on a more private level, and then we sell their products to the folks in the US, all people. So at some point, we came down to Rwandans, as a Rwandan myself. I was like, okay, so I sell this service to an American or any other person there, but for a Rwandan, I'm missing an opportunity there where I could even increase my portfolio with Rwandan products. Because if I'm in the US, we've had the research, we found out that about 95 or 98% of the people in the diaspora are breadwinners from in the family they come from. And even though they're in the US, they have their relatives here. Do you find them the ones supporting them in a way? Especially on the financial point, paying for their education, paying for their health, or if something was to happen in their family, a mishap, they're the ones to, chip in a financial way. So we got to this idea, and I talked to my colleagues, and then we started kind of, bringing forces together. We said, now, how do we serve more our people in a sense that brings me even satisfaction, connecting with my country? So we ended up deciding to increase our financial products portfolio with Rwandan financial services. That's what we're doing today. We're a group of about 10 people, different financial professionals that we came together and set up this organization called 410. And in 410, we provide basically the main activity is connecting the diaspora folks with financial solutions from their motherlands. More particularly from within the African diaspora. And to be specific, the Rwandan diaspora in my sense. But my colleague from South Africa, from Nigeria, will look at their section of the diaspora. So within my line of interest, I was like, okay, we have financial services from Rwanda that we're very much interested in here. As a matter of fact, in this trip, and actually previously last year, I was here as well, we partnered up with banks here, with insurance companies. But for banks like Equity Bank, we're looking at BK. We already have a partnership with Sonarwa. So we bring those services into the diaspora there, because it's going to be practically very expensive for this organization to operate a business there. But I'm there as a Rwandan. So if I partner with them up, then I can introduce this service to my community, and then it ends up being a win-win. The average person in the community gets a service that would relieve the burden, a financial burden in their family when they hook on a financial product maybe from Sonarwa, or they tap into financial resources of loans and investments, mortgage investments, because they purchase mortgage here, they purchase land. So in that case, we connect them. We bring companies from Rwanda, banks, institutions, and then we facilitate them to access the clients in our communities, because most of the people they don't have the savvy of knowledge and know-how. They don't know about this information.
What are some of the challenges that they used to face that this initiative came to solve, in a sense as if like coming to help? Because now you said that you help them access financial services, but also insurance services and other services still that you're working on. How can you share some of the specific barriers they've been facing before having this service in place?
Absolutely, yeah. So let's look at it in a more practical way. If I wanted to buy a house in Rwanda, I would have to plan a vacation, a time to fly here. And then once I'm here, I get to maybe learn through my relatives or friends around, where's this bank? What products are offered here? Or how do I tap into opening an account? And then some of the challenges there is usually when you come over here, you have a very limited time. you don't have a luxury of time to, kind of learn at your own pace.
Yeah.
You have to, you're pressured, but at the same time, you're missing out on relatives and different, circles here. So it's like the plate is full of things you have to run. What we kind of introduced to get rid of those challenges and those hurdles is, you know what, right down here, I can actually connect with financial institutions there because I speak their language. Because some of these even folks don't speak about, if say someone is in a medical field and they start talking about, interests and diaspora, financial hubs, and they don't really buy into those and get them very easily.
Yeah.
So what I do is, introduce the concept and put them in their language and say, you know what, you can actually get a Rwandan consular card and then learn about Equity or BK or I&M Bank, whichever bank is offering these products. And then we have eRembo. They don't know about eRembo. You can, upload your documents and get to travel to Rwanda only for signing, or even, cashing. We have cases where people even get to sign those documents virtually. So with the digital era that we're getting in, people are finding life more easier, and products, the idea of digitizing the products that we used to have, like the services of, documentation, IDs, and those are digitalized, and we are very grateful to Rwanda about, that kind of technology, because it makes life easier. And the challenge is, yes, of course, time has been addressed. One incredible way is the embassy, Rwanda embassy in the US kind of introduced an activity, action that made life more simpler. One would want to renew a passport or a national ID, or even getting a consular card. If I'm located in California or Texas, that's going to be about 4 or 5 hours flight to DC, the capital. And if you look at the cost of that in terms of time and resources, you're going to spend your money to fly. Of course, you're going to think of the hotels. You're going to think of the time away from the work.
Of course.
That was really stressful. And the embassy very gracefully thought of these creative ways of decentralizing the service and now come in the community, provide those services where people don't spend on those hotels or flights or even take time away from their work. They can do it on the weekend. They can do it, in the weekdays, depending on when the events happen. And that plays into us as business side, where people get these products. They get the documentation that we need to use to access those products. So we're like, okay, now that the embassy, that the government has decentralized the service, you guys embrace and hook on this, so that way you can easily tap into the products that we're offering. Because Rwandan institutions, financial institutions, would want to have this documentation. They want you to prove that you're Rwandan in a way. Maybe an ID or passport, you can renew your passport and then you get your business. So it's a win-win, and we like that synergy, that collaboration where you see one service provides actually a facilitation to access the other service. So the idea that experts can look into these fields and say, how do I bring my business idea or my opportunity into the trends that are happening? If there's a digitization, if there's a structuring of Rwandan communities. Now we've seen even places where there used to be no structure of Rwandans, of RCAs, new RCAs being born in states where there used not to be. So they come together so that way they can increase their leverage of government services, of businesses, leverage more information. So it's been incredible. I think within the last year alone, we had 2-3 new-born communities, Rwandan communities in the U.S. Just because they're trying to take advantage of that.
Now coming back, Herbert, as we wind up this session, when did this program start initially, and what are the future plans that you have to keep serving the Rwandan community? I'm not forgetting that there is other communities that you're helping around Africa, but let's focus on our community, the Rwandan community. What are the future plans that you have for this in this particular program?
Good. So we have actually very big plans that we're looking at, and we are very excited thinking about it itself. as we explored this opportunity here of the financial services, as I told you, so far we have locked in banks and insurance companies in Rwanda as to signed agreements. But we're also looking forward to embracing more institutions within that same field of banks, more banks, because we have right now 2-3 banks. But also want to have more offer, increase our portfolio of financial services providers. And another one also including things like Azure Hills and RSSB retirement programs that we think are very beneficial. So think of this, we have people they keep coming in the diaspora. And in my service, we actually operate, as I mentioned, in the US, in Canada, and in some degree Europe. So that's a geographical location that I would travel to anyway, even if I wasn't really offering Rwandan products. But introducing the Rwandan product in the portfolio that I was taking there adds up into my portfolio and increases my offer and actually provides a more bigger menu to my clients. So if I look at Azure Hills and RSSB, I'm like, okay, this is an incredible product that I would even try to myself embark on and actually selling itself, because it makes a lot more sense. I learned about where the program came about. I was like, okay, this is incredible because it's well studied. Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning looks into this, and the structure is actually solid of the product itself. So it's much better for me to introduce this product and provide a sense of satisfaction that I'm actually, bridging those roots to my clients back to their motherlands. So for Rwanda, looking forward, we want to have more organizations. We want to get more services coming out of this place, or even at some point it gets to be a two-way path. So as we're selling those services, we also get to learn about Rwandans who actually have money, who actually have ideas that they can invest in Rwanda. They can bring their money in Rwanda. So within the areas that we're already operating in, we're very excited to see these folks of our clients investing in Rwanda. They buy mortgages, they buy commercial houses, they buy businesses, business buildings in town, tapping money from the places they work in and investing it here.
Thank you, Herbert Mugume, for sharing your time with us and also the insights.
My pleasure to be with you here, Olive.
It's inspiring to see how these initiatives like the Rwanda Convention in the US and your work in financial initiatives and financial inclusion are helping to bridge the gap between Rwanda and its global citizens, and it's really inspiring. Thank you very much for the work.
My pleasure, thank you.
To our listeners, whether you're in Rwanda or part of the Rwandan community abroad, it is a reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping our future and also shaping the development of our country. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and remember, no matter where we are, Iwachu ni Iwachu, home will always be home. Until next time, I will be happy to have you again to the Roots and Wings Iwachu show. My name is Olive Nete. See you next.